Losing weight is hard. Keeping it off is hard. Implementing any changes in our lives, our behaviors and our lifestyle, they are very difficult to do. Keep watching all the way to the end because we're going to go through exactly what you need to do to make sure that this is a lot easier for you. So let me give it to you right here off the bat. It's because we are overwhelmingly an emotional nervous system. And a distant second, we are a thinking brain, right? So we are emotional animals that are just reacting and responding like cats and dogs to our environment. We have emotions that we didn't choose. You know, we like and dislike people that we didn't choose to. We didn't choose to have these feelings and urges. We didn't make them. You know, they happen to us. And then we're just kind of responding to this, the internal and external environment and the stimulus that is acting upon us, and we're reacting to it. So we have some choice, obviously, in the way that we respond. That's, you know, we have to take responsibility for the things that we can. You know, our response is something we can choose, but it's very exhausting to be doing that all the time. You be constantly fighting yourself. You have an urge, you got to resist it. You got to push back on yourself constantly. It's exhausting. It's not a fun life, right? So when you want to really take control of the direction of your life, then it's important to understand this. We don't have any control over ourselves. Right, the best we can do is influence. When you're trying to control yourself, you're forcing action upon yourself. No one likes being told what to do. No one likes being forced to do something. You know, when someone tells you what to do and is controlling you, it feels terrible. We have this need for autonomy and choice. Even when we're being told what to do by ourselves, we don't want to do it. There has to be an element of seduction. We need to learn how to seduce ourselves into the behaviors we want to do. We don't like doing things that there is a sense of force and I should do this and I have to do that. It's not inspiring. We have to be inspired into the actions that we want to continually do forever. And this is, you know, one of the key principles of weight loss and change and personal development is these things that we're trying to implement are things forever. We want to do them for the rest of our lives. So, you can just imagine you're forcing yourself to do something, doing something just because you should do it is for the rest of your life is a sorry existence. You're not going to want to do that. That's terrible. No one wants to live like that. That doesn't lead to a better life. I mean, why are we doing any of this stuff? Why do you want to do anything? Why do you want to change something? Because it gives you a better life. You're not going to have a better life when you're just fighting yourself and doing everything you should be doing. We have this innate need to have a sense of autonomy. I chose this, right? This is the life I'm living and I'm choosing. So why this is important to learn and understand and for you to be here learning this in this video is that it's easy to just force yourself to do something. You don't have to know much about it. But if you're going to really seduce yourself, if you're going to really get inspired to do something, you have to plug yourself into the reasons why you're doing it. You know, get connected to what is going to inspire you and light you up and make you want to do something. So we have to learn about something. It has to start there with a sense of knowledge. You know, what am I doing this for? How do I work? How do I work with myself to get there to that point? We stumble across inspiration sometimes, but if we can learn the art of self-influence, learn the art of self-seduction, learn how to make yourself want something, it requires an understanding. You know, you have to understand what's going to make you move, right? What's going to make you emotionally move into that place. So learning about yourself, that's really important. There's a quote by Jim Rohn I've mentioned many times, which is, you know, for things to change, you must change. You know, and for things to get better, you must get better. You know, and when you grow, everything in your life grows. So this really touches on the whole point here, which is, you know, when you are working on yourself, working on values and your identity and working on all these things, then everything starts to grow. So saying work on yourself, that can be quite an ambiguous thing. It's broad. What the hell does that mean? What is working on yourself, right? And I'd put it just down to three things that I want to go through. One is self-awareness, right? And we've talked about this a little bit already, but you can't change something that you don't see. You can't work on something that you don't know. So when you know yourself and you know how you react to things, and you're able to wake up in the moment and see how you react to things, how you respond to things, the more self-knowledge that you have, the more that you can navigate yourself and navigate your life. Self-awareness is also understanding more about human nature in general. How, what are our default programs? What's our innate nature that I'll probably react like? What are the ways that humans work? And then how do I specifically work? And the more that you understand about yourself, it's like the more you understand about a computer, the more you know how to use it, right? The more you understand about anything, the more that you're able to use it. And the more that you can spot those things in real time, spot the problems, spot the things, then you're much more successful at operating it, at operating yourself. The more aware and more knowledge you have of it, the better you are at operating it. The other thing to work on is just skills. Working on yourself just means building skills. So build the skill of working out, build the skill of eating and understanding food and navigating food, build the skill of resilience, build the emotional skills, your ability to withstand negative emotions, to withstand uncertainty, to withstand, just practice particular emotional and physical skills and emotional skills. The thing is, not to be so hung up on the outcome, hung up on the result. Again, if you're working on the skill of working out, just of what to do, how to do it, getting into the joy of building a skill and feeling like now I have more competency, I have more ability in this life and in this field. And the more skills that you build, naturally, the more you'll want to use them and the more that you're better at it. And again, if you're focused on the skill itself, just the skill acquisition as opposed to the result that skill will get, the side effect of that is better results, is a better life, right? So self-awareness, skills, and the last one I would call selfhood, or identity is another word for it. It's working on your values. What do you want? What do you want from this life? What do you want from yourself? Just getting a sense of who you are, and defining it, like not finding it, but defining it. Right, you're saying this is who I want to be, and you're kind of just focusing on it like your character. Who I want to be, honest, authentic. I want to be resilient. I want to, and then the more that you become connected to and attached to those identity pieces, who you are. I'm a person who pushes through. I'm a person who learns new things. I'm a person who is self-aware. The more that you are attached to that, you are naturally drawn to it. We're so driven towards the way that we define ourselves, and the thing is, we have unconscious definitions of ourselves that we are constantly drawn to. Like, for example, when someone has a sense of selfhood, a sense of identity that says, I am a person who tries hard and fails. That's something that you may have learned or become attached to as an identity because, and maybe that has been the way it's been, but it's become an identity that you just sort of let yourself live into, So as you start to fail, oh, well, that's who I am. That's what I do. I try hard and I fail. Yeah, and again, that's an unconscious narrative. That's not explicit. The fact is that there are so many identities and selfhoods that we have installed in us that are really driving our actions and feelings and results in life that we don't even realize. So it's about articulating that. Who am I? What do I want to be? And just work on that. Just honestly, without any sense of what it's going to get you. Just focus on that. Just again, don't work on the problem and don't think about what you're going to get from it, but just generally define it. And then everything in your life will change. Everything grows, everything changes. When you change, your identity changes, you change. Your results change, everything in your life changes. So your self-awareness, your skills, and your selfhood, when you work on these, everything changes. It cannot not change. The urges that you have, the motivations and the inspirations that you have naturally start to transform. And you don't have to be fighting yourself all the time. And also, you're not fighting yourself because you're so attached to external results are being achieved. I'm focused on my skills, my self-awareness, and how much am I growing in those things. It's not about the end point. It's about building and growing those things, and then just everything changes. Work on those things. Keep growing. Keep watching the channel and learning more. And watching this channel is part of that. It's part of growing and working on yourself, more self-knowledge. I hope you enjoyed that. Share it with a friend. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.